Hello and welcome to episode 8 of The Gamer's Advocate. My name is Adam Bankhurst, and this week we're going to try something a little different than our normal 3-topic set. I'm going to be focusing on one subject and putting a little bit more production value in it and just seeing how it goes. So I'd like you to let me know in the comments what you think, if you like this format, or what you would like this show to become. But today we're focusing on the Super NES Classic that was just announced. Yes, as a follow-up to the NES Classic that took the world by storm and made a lot of people angry because it was very difficult to get. The Super NES Classic is coming out this September 29th to be exact, for $79.99. Included in this is 21 pre-installed titles, including the never-before-released Star Fox 2, which was, I think, more of a surprise than the Super NES Classic because we had a feeling this was going to be coming, especially after the popularity of the NES Classic. But besides that, it has 21 games that you can see here that include all the classics and shows what an incredible library the Super Nintendo had. I mean, you have games from Super Mario World to Super Punch-Out to Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past to Mega Man X. There's something for everyone, and a lot of these games are some of the greatest video games of all time. And they're going to be all packaged up nice and neat inside a small Super Nintendo system that comes with 2 wired Super NES controllers, so you can play multiplayer on some of these games. And they did say that the cord's going to be 5 feet long for the controller as opposed to the 3 foot long for the NES Classic, which caused a lot of trouble when you were trying to play and you would have to stand literally right next to your television. Now this is super exciting for me because the NES Classic was exciting and I loved what they were doing, but I was waiting for the Super Nintendo because this was the first system that I ever had or owned or was given. So this Super Nintendo really has a special place in my heart, and I cannot wait to relive those days. Even though I've played these games on Virtual Console, there's going to be something special about booting this up, holding the controller, and reliving these moments that shaped my childhood. So with these 21 games, there are obviously great ones and good ones, and maybe ones that I haven't tried before, but what I wanted to talk about today were my top 5 games that I'm most excited for to jump into. This was very hard to narrow down to 5 because a lot of these games could be on anyone's top 5 list of all time. Super Metroid and Mega Man X just missed the list for me, and while they did mean a lot, these top 5 games really spoke to me or give me reason to get very excited to jump in and have an excuse to maybe finish some games that I haven't before. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into my top 5 most excited games for the Super NES Classic. Number 5, Star Fox 2. The big game, the big title that's coming with the Super NES Classic that was never released. Now this was a sequel to the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo that came out in 1993. And Star Fox 2 was supposed to come out in 1995, but with the impending release of the Nintendo 64 and Star Fox 64 on the horizon, they canceled it and it was never released to the public. People have been able to play this through ROMs and some certain things, but this is the first time it is being released to the general public. And it's super exciting to be able to play a game that, and like I said, unless you had an emulator and a ROM, you've never been able to play before. So I can't wait to jump in and see what our favorite animal pilots are up to. Number 4, Kirby Superstar. This game, I don't know why, but I have such vivid memories of growing up and playing this game for hours on end. As they tout on the cover, there's 8 games in one. And though I spent a lot of my time in Spring Breeze and in the arena trying to best all the bosses and master the endurance test, the game is just such a complete package and so much fun, and copying all the abilities and unlocking everything. It just was such an incredible time that I still vividly remember. And like I said, it's one of my clearest memories. So I can't wait to jump back in and experience those memories once again. Number 3 is Final Fantasy 3, or as a lot of you may have played it, as Final Fantasy 6. Because Final Fantasy 3 was originally released in 1990 and it didn't come over to North America until 1994. And as I said, it came over as Final Fantasy 3. Now this is a game that is on my maybe ashamed list, if we want to say it, because I never completed this game. Because Final Fantasy is one of the most important franchises in my gaming history, and Final Fantasy VII may very well be my favorite game of all time. So a lot of people say that Final Fantasy VI, or Final Fantasy III as it's coming out on the Super NES Classic, is maybe the greatest Final Fantasy game of all time. And I know about the iconic opera scene and the other incredible moments and characters, but I want to experience this game from start to finish and really correct this mistake and really play this game to completion and see where it stands upon the pantheon of games that have been released. So I hope it's held up, and maybe the SNES Classic will have certain features like either save states or speeding up time so grinding won't be as tedious. But I just can't wait to get lost in this world and, like I said, correct one of my biggest gaming mistakes. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now this year, as if you've been following the Gamer's Advocate, you know that Breath of the Wild is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life, and it's in the running to take over my favorite Zelda game of all time, which is Ocarina of Time. And that also may be one of my favorite games of all time. But A Link to the Past is a game that I have not played since it was originally released. And this is a game that I have fond memories of, but I'm a little hazy. I mean, I played A Link Between Worlds and loved that game on 3DS, and I know it was kind of a remake, kind of a sequel, whatever you want to call it, but I haven't played this original game since it came out. And I purchased it on Virtual Console, but I never got around to it. And I hope that having that Super Nintendo controller in my hand and reliving it as I first experienced it will give me the motivation to finish it and experience this masterpiece of a game and see how it holds up, especially after playing Breath of the Wild and seeing the differences. And I'm excited to kind of jump in and play a Zelda game from the 90s. And last but not least is Super Mario World, the game that introduced me into the amazing world of video games. I'll never forget the day, and it was just a random Tuesday, that my mom and dad came in with a wrapped present. And when I opened it, the Super Nintendo was there with Super Mario World just waiting to be played. And my mom and I would play Super Mario World till the wee hours of the morning and way past my bedtime. And we would fight and learn and triumph together and saving Princess Peach and saving Mushroom Kingdom from the evil Bowser. And it's a memory, one of my most cherished memories, because not only did it introduce me to video games, but it was a memory that I shared with my mom in a time where we bonded and really just triumphed together. As I said, the victory was so great, and I'll never forget when we finally conquered Bowser and saved the kingdom, and we would just jump up and dance and hug each other, and it was just such a powerful moment that sticks with me till this day. And while I've purchased this game 100 times, every time that title screen comes on and I begin the game, I'm brought back to that incredible moment, and I can't wait to do it again, once again, with that controller in my hand and feeling the incredible nostalgia as I play through one of the greatest games of all time. And that does it. Those are my top 5 most excited games for that Super NES Classic. What are you most excited for? What games can you not wait to replay or to play for the first time? Let me know by commenting below. Send me an email at adam@thegamersadvocate.com. Follow me on Twitter @AdamBankhurst, or follow the Gamers Advocate @GamersAdvocate. Like us on Facebook, subscribe below, rate us on iTunes and subscribe there. Become a part of the Gamers Advocate family and join us each week as we explore the incredible world of video games. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to keep F5ing and refreshing on this Amazon pre-order page until they go live so I can secure a piece of history, because I know they're going to sell out fast, and they have mentioned that the Super NES Classic is only going to be in production until the end of the year. So I'm going to make sure that I get a copy of them. Don't tell her, but I'm going to buy a Super NES Classic for my mom and give her the gift that she once gave me. And maybe she'll never play it, but just knowing that this came full circle will be such an incredible moment. And I'm very, very excited to finally give that to her once it launches on September 29th. So I can't thank you enough for joining me and talking and reliving some of the greatest memories of my gaming history, and hopefully yours as well. So I look forward to coming back and talking with you next week. And until then, I hope you have a great day and or night. Thank you.